Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Verdict. The Boks are 2 from 2, but not as straightforward as the 42-24 scoreline suggests against Italy. I'm joined by 2 World Cup winners, both loose forwards. The ruck was a bit of a mess this weekend, and hopefully the 2 of them can shed some light on that. Schalk Burger and Deon Fourie, flanker / hooker. Guys, how was the weekend? All good?
All good from my side. We went to Eisenfontein, weekend off. I saw you in the beer tent. Also, it looked cold at Loftus, man. You were wrapped up in everything you had.
It was nippy. It was quite nippy. Deon, we saw each other there. It was pretty cold by the time the sun went down.
He had a nice jacket on as well, walking through the beer tent. You looked very smart, and I was quite impressed with your outfit.
Yeah, that's debatable that I look smart or not, but let's leave it at that. But what a jaw at Loftus though, eh? It's the first time that I've actually been kind of on the BC field before the game to see what's going on. I mean, it's a proper party, proper family atmosphere. There's so much on the go, so many activations, all the brands. So it's not just a test match. Everything, the lead up to the game, they do it properly up there in Pretoria.
I was in Eisenfontein in the club there, where that is, John. So obviously you watched a bit of the female game before that. Our women playing Canada obviously trouncing us quite convincingly, but it looked empty. And then the overview shot of Loftus and the B and C field was absolutely jam-packed, pumping 2 hours before kickoff.
That's kind of where the game needs to go as well, eh? It's not just the test match, because a lot has been said about the ticket pricing, etc., etc. But it's not just about the test match. It's about the lead up to the game as well. Being able to take your family. If it's mom, dad, 2 kids. They must have a good time beforehand and in the game as well, and you kind of pay for all of that.
Yeah, I think the entertainment beforehand that fills the whole day for you. So that's nice. I think Loftus they're very lucky to have those fields. I think it's something we had at Newlands. We had those castle lawns and stuff, a bit of that. Now we're at the stadium in the city. I don't know where you can find a field to have a braai or a few bands, but I think they struck it lacquer with those.
Yeah, they do it well. And it was everything. It was, you have the Boks, but we had Aiden Markram there, with a flag for South Africa.
How amazing
Dricus
was
du
that?
Plessis there beforehand. You have the, some of the artists performing outside as well. So, good day out as a spectator, as a fan, and South Africans are just Bok crazy, right?
I wonder if, like Aiden Markram, like with cricket test matches, they tried now, like obviously for the last 5 or 6 years, where you do the anthem. Before that, it was never a thing. But like the rugby anthems is such an institution, it's such a moment that you can't quite replicate it in a cricket game, because there's a whole day of cricket, or 3 hours of T20, or 8 hours of 50 overs. The intensity around the anthem.
Yeah,
he must have loved that.
Yeah, especially like in the rugby stadium. If it's smaller, you can get the feeling, whatever. Where the cricket ground is a bit bigger, so you won't get that pure sound.
Everyone rolls in later for cricket games, because like if you miss the first over, there's another 100 to come or whatever.
Yeah, well, I must say at that the test match at Lords, it looked pretty cool, the vibe there as well. Don't know if the anthem would have been on par to a rugby game, but and the victory. The victory was all that counts. It was a sloppy day out for the Boks, especially in the second half. Handling errors, the breakdown was an absolute mess. I thought Lineout's not even functioning the way that it normally does, and then conceding a maul try from about 20 meters out. The Monday morning review session, Brandas, how do you reckon that went?
Yeah, I think there's a few oaks that won't be very happy about that. I think Dwayne and Eben, I think, will get stuck in. I think they pride themselves on that department, and it's their department as well. So, to consider 20-meter maul try, it's not what we know the Boks is about, and not scoring a maul try as well. It's like, but these days it's so difficult to score maul tries. I think if you look at the ratio about 2 years ago and where it's now, you don't score a maul try that easily these days with the way they stop it. So,
I actually think we started all right. Eben gets on the foot, gets a charge down, first attacking play, go through the guts, and we quite I think, it's hard to be critical now, or easy to be critical now. I think we wanted to be direct against them. If you look at the way we played round the corner, big carries, not a lot of tips or options out the back or accessing width quickly. It was like we wanted to go through the guts, and I think it served us well in the beginning until we started making errors. Turnover at breakdown, 22 entries, not converting them. And then it became, to be honest, a bit of a wrestling match, because I don't think we've seen the Boks this disjointed on attack for quite a while, where it was one pass ruck, and then even if we did do the tip, the breakdown was a bit of a mess. Mono van der Berg, had a good game, but all accounts it was quite hard for the Nines. You could see that when Faf to get clean ball. And actually that all boils down to attitude. Same to, the Lineout maul. Yes, we lost the front of our maul, so 4 of our guys swam around the front, and then they were in the back, and then you're trying to recover. If you're going to collapse that thing, penalty try, yellow cards coming your way, so it's quite hard to do it. But it was front ball where the Boks normally, in our system, teams get bullied.
Yeah, no, not a perfect day out. Also, Branus, you were part of the World Cup winning bomb squad. I suppose in the final, you don't really call it the bomb squad if you go on in the 3rd minute of the game.
I was starting.
Yeah, you basically started the game. But on Saturday, the bomb squad struggled to have the effect that they normally do have. Was that kind of the bluntest impact that we've seen from our bomb squad?
Yeah, I think it's not what we're renowned for, what we're doing. I think, but we have to credit to Italy as well, how they disrupted it as a breakdown. Just to latch on what Schalk said, we wanted to come around the corner, get those carriers, but if the ruck is a mess, you can't get more than 8. Just sniper back, can't run onto it. You stop, start, so you can't run onto the ball. And I think that was just snowballed into the way everything developed through.
And then eventually when we started to access the width, it was almost through, we've run out of numbers of 4s coming around the corner.
Yeah.
It wasn't like in motion, on top of the gain line, pull the trigger out the back and then create opportunities for our outside backs. Even though some of the tries we scored was really nice. There was nice continuity in our build-up play. The bomb squad, I think it's tricky coming off the bench. They've made it look easy for the last couple of years, but error rate kills all energy. Yeah. And I think when they came on, that's when our lineup really started to fall apart. So we lost, I think, 3 or 4 in a row, or 4 out of 5. Yeah. And that's where they sort of fire up and come around the corner. Our attack from that, and obviously scrummage, is where, and both those facets of our play actually went backwards when the bomb squad came on, which is not usual for the Springbok bomb squad.
Yeah, they're normally elevated to a next level. Because you mentioned the start, Schalk, and I also thought we started really well. Even from the first scrum, we had proper dominance there.
Yes.
But then the longer we went into the game, the more Italy grew into the game. And we have to give credit to them as well for their physicality, for the way they defended, for the way that a vastly less experienced team performed on the day. We saw the emotion with the singing of the national anthem, and a lot of the times we talk about, okay, if Argentina or Italy or France, if they're really emotional with the singing of the national anthem, then sometimes okay, it's going to be a tough one, and we certainly experienced that on Saturday.
Yeah, I think the Boks knew what they. If you look at Italy and the Six Nations, they were physical. They're all Six Nations. They bullied some of the nations in the Six Nations, and I think they knew what were coming. Maybe it struck them a bit. Was not used to them to be that physical and that on top of you the whole time. But I think, like you said, I think this morning they had a meeting. I think they'll definitely be fired up for this.
And they were massively effective in their leg chop, 2-man in, second man over the ball. And that is so hard to play against if you don't get the breakdown sorted. Reaction to the breakdown this week for the Boks will be way better. And your options, you have to have options alive against the leg chop, because one player basically sits on his knees. Wales did it when they were really good so successfully, we just couldn't get rhythm against them. It was so disruptive.
And you don't get pace on that rack because it's a messy to get over the ball.
And we'll see like the tendency. We've got quite a few 22 entries, maul, no reward off the back of the maul. And then you're forced to send Damien up in the vacuum, short options. We actually scored a try like that, Vincent Koch, later in the game. But then to come around the corner off the back of that maul and actually stay on top of the ball, that's the hardest thing to do. I mean, they've got some special mentions in their team. I think Italy captain Nicolo Canoni chucked himself about, was rewarded with a try. Open side flanker was effective. Zuliani in the first half, a couple of turnovers. So, yeah, they were impressive.
On Boks Unpacked last week, you mentioned that traditionally Italy, it was down to the physicality of their pack, and they've kind of swayed away from that a little bit. Is it the return of that? Did we see it on the weekend?
I think it was hard for them in the first half. Second half, they had much more of a foothold. You think they lost, they scored 24 points. Their left winger, Gessie, should have scored that where Kirtley, credit to Kirtley, but like you dotted down on the try line. Why go 5 meters beyond, why run the risk? And also, we've said it so many times, the way how to finish is to have the ball out in front of you.
Yeah.
Don't tuck it in the left arm. Don't allow your feet to slide out. Put it down.
Is that the way you guys do it when you're at the back of the mall, and then the 7 guys in front of you and then you score the try, right?
There you just belly flop.
Just belly flop.
But you don't flop 5 meters in. You flop on the
right on the
line. The try, the end of the game was also disallowed. So you think, okay, there's maybe 12, 14 points. All of a sudden, they're right next to the box.
Far tighter than what we thought. Before we get into the clips and actually analysing it, I think the breakdown will be key for us, the line out, and then we'll look at the tries as well. So update on injury, Deon. Can you share where you're at?
Yeah, going well. My second week started running. So, hopefully in 3 weeks' time, I'm back in it, or possibly. Okay. But I started running.
Perfect timing for the Curry Cup.
Lovely. Yeah. Okay, the breakdown in particular was an area of concern. For me, which was surprising, was also our lineouts and our plays from the lineouts. We tried to play a little bit, some trick plays up the front, not necessarily from the first phase, but then going back in there. We didn't see our maul function well at all. And traditionally, that's such a good base for us. Even though we scored 2 tries off the lineout, we'll just run through our lineouts and just the lack of the kind of success that we traditionally have in this area of the game. First one started well. This is what we know from the box. Off the top, good carry, Marco van Ston and the box kick. Okay, proper exit. So as a start, for the start of the game, this is the way you want to be starting, right?
Yeah, I think if you go back, you look at the first 10 minutes, I think we're quite good. Eben perfectly positioned for it, misses it. I think we get reward off the back of it, comes our way. But the start, the intent from Marco carrying into the vacuum was impeccable. And I think there was a clear theme in the beginning, how direct we wanted to be against him.
And I'm just going to play all our lineouts on our feed through. This one, actually, I thought really well done.
This was our best starter. Jasper Visser, nice to see him back. He was good. Yeah. I love the little tip from Loot to Damien.
Yeah, good strike player first. Yeah.
But then again, guys, and I want you the breakdown. Okay, throughout, when even though we're watching the clips of the lineouts now, the breakdown, we did not manage to secure our ball. They got so many turnovers, so many handling errors from our side as well, and just not being able to be stable at the breakdown, securing it for us, and then getting through the phases.
I think it's definitely something. I know Dwayne and Felix Jones, they're quite hard on breakdown, on your work on the ground and stuff. So I think that will definitely be a talking point this week, leading up to the second test.
So yeah, trying them all. This is probably our best success.
Yeah, nice take by Loot, but that drill wasn't like clean. Normally our drill was like perfect. We got no reward, and this is where it becomes quite hard. You've got to send Damien up into the vacuum. And we had a lot of patience, but like with the breakdown, and Deon would tell you, like obviously your reaction's got to be good. You can't have a fight, but 80% of it's ball carrier.
Yeah.
If you've got a successful ball carrier, our job as cleaners is easy. Damien Willemse was exceptional, I thought.
Yeah, really good. And just and we see it there again, his tackle fight ability. His ability to really not just concede when he's in contact, but really fight for those extra couple of meters or getting his hands loose. Now, even looking at the attacking shape here, it's just we're just not. And I mean, look at
Good
that
example of the leg chop. That's where you go. You've got to have options alive. Like that leg chop. 2 players sit down. They can't adjust.
Yeah.
So if you're in motion, you've got numbers out the back, and you're playing heads-up rugby for Eben there. He runs onto it. But if you 2 hands, the little tip, you've got to have a one-on-one posted. Look at that whole set. We started on the 22. We ended up behind the 22.
And that was a point I just wanted to make. Was it felt to me, Deon, and we know about the shape of the box, and when they're in motion, when they have available players to be able to play with options, then we're really dangerous. But it just felt like we didn't have the players in motion on the weekend. We didn't have those options to play out the back, or guys that can be your bailout. Again, unlike Boks, losing the lineout.
I think in all of these, what stood out about the Italy performance was how competitive they were in all facets, whether it was their fight at scrum time, lineout contesting, Eben's previous carry, double hits on him, not taking a backward step. Yes, they made errors, somewhere, but like even kicking contest.
Yeah, we didn't get clean ball at all.
Proper contest.
Louis Liner, did really well. I thought he was very competitive against Kirtley, made every single kick a contest, and that's what you want from your wingers.
Oh, the new rule as well, where you have to give access to the jumper. I think it's so difficult for the wings these days to get that clean catch. So it's always the guys who's, like scrap loaded when that ball gets on the ground.
This is the one where they come back to the blind. Obviously, saw an opportunity there with a 9 or the winger.
Type of a set play.
It was a set play because Eben went over the 15, but again, the draw was poor. It wasn't a clean take. I actually thought they would have kept him up, and then he drops it, and we do a late sweep around the front. Because of the draw, you stick to your play, and you get bullied at the breakdown.
Yeah. Because, I mean, where have we seen that? The Boks, one phase in and not enough players to secure the breakdown. That's very, very unlike the Boks that we've seen in the last number of years. But throughout these clips, small errors, small errors creeping in.
And that's the most frustrating thing, those small stuff that just goes wrong. And it creeps in.
There we go.
It sits in the back of your mind.
Clean draw. How's the line? He's got some score record.
Weaving.
Yeah. What's he scored now? 19? Yellow card for Italy.
Yeah.
Canoni, loose forward. If the replay
makes the vacuum a bit.
Yeah, they lose their rudder at the back of the lineout. They don't have that loose forward to get into the vacuum. And they pick the gap between the hooker who's out at 10, Di Matteo, and whoever should have been the rudder is now in the lineout. So nice little vacuum. Proper play.
This one, again, bomb squad. We spoke about the bomb squad and the not having the effect, first lineout for us and not being able to win it. And again, it's those coachable things that we've seen from the Boks that it's always on point. Things that you can really put effort in, put time in to get better. But on the day, the execution just not there 100%.
Like you talk about the impact of the bomb squad. So you miss the lineout. All of a sudden, you're carrying like a defensive carry. You're not running on top of them just because of your set piece that's malfunctioning. That error rate that we saw a couple of times now, whether it's at the breakdown or ball carrier losing position, you're running into shape post that you Erges name and you want to get your hands on the ball, you want to play offload, you want to access space. You can't because you're now running 40 meters back because of the lineout or the scrum malfunction.
And I think this it's actually a good point that you make, and because this is Vincent Koch's try that we see from this lineout. Now again, Brannis trying to get the maul going, not getting a reward there at all. Then we go into our phase play, but very much one-off runners. And up until Erges Neyman actually gets the ball and gets a bit of an offload going, shifts that contact point one channel wider, we get momentum and eventually score the try.
I think you want to get that momentum and then you want to stay on top of them. I think that's how the Boks is. You want to get around that corner, get on top of them, and then stay on top of them.
Yeah.
And as soon as that kicked in, that's when we just get front foot. We just win that little yards, little meter, and that's where Vincent just popped over.
Was able to go over.
But you'll see it's similar to what we've seen, you know, as direct. I love the fact that Henry Pollard's got the confidence to go to gain line. And this is just special. Nothing's on.
Even static, you know, a little bit static.
Go gadget arm.
Vince
does a baby RG, you know. And then you go into your 5-meter goal line attack, which is so effective these days. But also I don't think we were completely as dynamic as we want to be. You know, we'll harp onto it later. France this weekend against New Zealand was exceptional in this area. It's almost like they create their own chaos rucks, pick and goes. Vincey, first try, international try ever.
Yeah, I didn't know that until they said it in the game. Like,
he's waited 10 years.
Mr. Incredible with by the end of this year, he had a line break from the 10-yard and dummied and chip and chased and regathered it with his left paw and scored it.
Yeah, great for him. He's waited a long time. Again, execution not there. Italy immediately in the transition. Villy back on, onto the field.
Cap number 99.
99. You know, but even we just didn't have that. You know, something was just missing throughout the game.
Yeah, like when you look at the Boks play like that, and you know, I wasn't there, and you don't see a lot of wide angles on televisions anymore. The reason why we don't have options will be our work rate off the ball. You know, every player's work rate on the ball, intensity carrying would have been good, but you don't have options because you don't work hard enough to set your shape early enough. Actually have a look up the defense saying, I'm not seeing numbers, I'm seeing faces. Here's a poor defender, here's an option. I've seen this picture a few times, but you've got to be there first. You can't be reactive to the defense. And almost that performance looks like our work rate off the ball wasn't quite up to the standard what we normally see out of this Boks side.
Okay, well, let's take a quick break. Then we'll look at the tries scored on the weekend from the Boks and also from Italy.
Cody from Paul has sold multiple vehicles to WeBuyCars. Suspicious? I think so.
Is that a crime?
No. Where are you getting the cars?
I buy them and I sell them at the spot like a normal person.
Okay.
No, man, I'm just an accounting student. I know a good deal when I see one.
That's Excel. Meant. What's more stressful, tax season or selling a car at WeBuyCars?
Tax season, obviously.
WeBuyCars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Okay, so lineout's not the standard we used to. Scrums, even though we're not going to the scrums today, I think we always get the ball we want. But the dominance that we had in the first phase certainly wasn't, our first half wasn't replicated in the second half. We're now going to have a look at all the tries scored for the Boks and also conceded, when Italy scored. But before we get to that, we need to revisit our Betway predictions for last week. Now, you weren't part of that, Deon.
I'm not allowed to gamble.
Yes, you're not.
I'm still playing.
Yeah. So just don't partake in this section.
Yeah, you can say that. Leave it to me. Leave it to me and John.
We thought there was great value in the 34-point handicap for the Boks.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen at all, with Italy keeping it to 18 points and could have been far closer.
Yeah, they could have been far closer. But I still think we made the right bet, and that's why we're not good at this, John. Yeah. I thought the Boks are going to pitch up there and go score 10 tries, man.
I thought we had the one option where we had the result bet,
yes,
where it was, I think, 8 to 14 points difference, South Africa winning, and the odds were 8-1.
Yeah, and we gave bad advice. We said there's no chance of that happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
This section is really going well for us. Okay. Hopefully this time around we can make a better bet on Friday on Boks Unpacked. We will be giving some nice bets there as well. You won't be here. I've got great guests. Frans Malherbe and Osterrand. Arguably the best loose-head and tight-head we've ever seen.
Well, not arguably the loose-head. He's just been
selected.
He's been just selected on
As
how many scrums are you going to talk about, John? Are you now the next Andre Esterhuizen? You're getting a full 8
I'll just be listening. Okay, guys, let's go into the try analysis First try of the game, through the phases, punching it up, getting some momentum, and then the space at the back.
I love the option. We saw it last week. Once through Fassie's right foot and then also through Damien.
Yeah.
Look, guys, Jesse Crew's in front of the ball. I mean, he scores it and great work, great. Awesome. I love Jesse. You know, he's the right man for the job in the 13 jumper. We see him on attack so much more often, maybe not this weekend, but when we do play with more passes before contact, I love the option. The recognition there. If the call comes through quite late because he wants to play it out the back, it's not quite on. Heads up and then drops it on the foot. But Jesse Kriel is a half a metre to a metre offside there.
But, I mean, if you don't have the angle, how can you conclusively say that he is in front of the ball? So
well, the on-field call was try.
It's try, yeah.
But, I mean, maybe they had different angles that we could see. But, you know, from our angle, you pause it on the point where Damien kicks it. Jesse's running a short ball. There's an option alive at the back. He's already...
Passed it.
He passed it.
Yeah, well, try score. I mean, we have so much technology in the game. I mean, how is there a way of being? Let's say that's a World Cup final. World Cup final, you score the try. Obviously, if you're the team in green and gold, you're very happy about it. If you're the opposing team, you know, and the try scored with him being in front of the ball.
It's always difficult with those angles. It's looking at the angle. I know, like in NFL, they've got all those cameras on the sides. As the plays move, they just switch to that camera. So you always stay plays on.
Yeah.
So maybe a solution for Supersport is like getting those 3 or 4 cameras like on the 22, on the half, whatever. As soon as the play goes there,
that's your
on.
main camera, so it will be on the halfway, and you're shooting it, so you can't get in line. So
you get just 2 main cameers on, like on the 22 and this, and you get
Here we go, Supersport deal.
I think
add more cameras.
I think the issue is like we're never quite sure what's the end result going to be. You know, whatever game or whatever TMO decision, we all do a lot of work, and it's not you play still, but like we watch so many games, and we'll sit in the studio and we'll go try, no try, in front of the ball, and inevitably none of us are right. You know, like we don't really get it right that often.
Well, the try stands. Here we go. Scrum, dominance, the pack working really hard. So well-deserved try for the 9, right?
Yeah. That's probably the thing that breaks it, because they won't go over as a pushover try. That's just the scrap is scoring a try. So I mean, you can't tick it as a pushover try.
Gets man of the match, scores a double. That's the one.
Usually that's an 8 minutes try that, and then
I'm glad Peter Steph de Toy looks bloody ecstatic sitting in the crowd. But I think what is quite important is Jasper does a really good job, but they go forward so fast. So as 8, it's almost impossible to have that touch on it.
Yeah.
If it moves slower, it's quite easy just to drag it.
Control it.
Keep it on the shoelaces. But so often 9s stay not right behind the scrum. Their alignment's almost waiting for the 8-9 or trying to keep their 9 occupied. Mornay's positioning is really good, where he's right in behind, you know. So when it does bobble and pop out the back, he's there to pick up the scraps. If he was 2 meters to the right, expecting the 8-9, you know, that ball bobbles out there and it's a turnover, you know, unless there's a penalty advantage. So, I mean, there is a bit of method behind his madness there.
Yeah. But that's probably one of the best tries for front row. Pushover try. It makes you so happy.
Yeah, I know.
And I've always said, you know, with the Boks, we have such dominance at scrum time, but it's being able to convert that into points and to be able to see that on the scoreboard, because a lot of the time you have the dominance, but you're not able to get points on the board for it. You know, where at least there we saw that. The second try we scored was Kurt Lee's try from the line-out, which we've already seen. But then this one, again, nice left shoulder. He can attack. Cheslin attracts so many defenders. And then Morne van der Berg scores his second in his second test.
Funny setup they had. I mean, it's hard because you want to back the scrum first. They almost put someone right behind the scrum, and then 9 shoots off to first defender. 9 overtracks, because I think once Morne goes to the line, you revert to short options first. You know, out the back is irrelevant. And you can see there where 9 and 10's both on Cheslin. And the guy sitting behind the ruck, he's actually on his way there trying to tackle crappy. So Mornay does really well breaking out. You know, nowadays that would never be an option for the 9. You know, he'll just picked off by the opposition number 9, but their 9 was on 10 and they waited for the guy behind the scrum to get onto the first attacker, which was too late.
But also the swing of the scrum a little bit, you know, getting that left shoulder up, it just makes your attack and the timing of the attack so much easier.
Flank so much, that extra meter you have to, because of the left shoulder.
Yeah,
out of it as well.
I mean, it's the worst position when the scrum is under pressure and you're a flanker there, and you know, you've got to do your bit in the scrum, and then you've got to try not get caught up and fly out and try and, you know, support your number 9 in the vacuum. So it's panic-stricken moments that for us as flankers, there's nothing we enjoy about it.
So you go into into half time, 4 tries scored, none conceded. You know, I think the Boks were settled but not convincing yet. But I think we all expected that in the second half they would come out firing. The impact would be more from the bomb squad, etc., etc. But then Italy, different ideas, and they just never stopped. I think that the timing of this one as well, Malcolm has a go, then as soon as he backs off, boom, Zuliani with a pick and go, try scored.
Yeah, unlucky for Malcolm, I think.
I mean, like, you want Malcolm to have the freedom to go for it, because that's where he comes alive in those situations. That ruck was formed 5 seconds prior to that. You know, he walks across, so he's actually in an offside position, puts his hand on, gets coached away, backs out. You're way better off just being in that low position, 3-point stance, you and your mate. And the big thing defending that is numbers. The short option. You've got to go. There's no use in leaving it to one bloke. It's got to be you and your mate smashing 2 of them, because inevitably their cleaners are coming to put them a half a meter over the gain line. So you've got to fight it in numbers. And that was not nice for Malcolm. Was, you know, fantastic rugby player. I mean,
so many tries these days are scored like this, that pick and go. So it's all that. It's all try, or it's advantage offside, because because your hands is in front, ref home out. Look, 3 rucks, or try, or advantage, penalty advantage. Always with those pick and drives. That's
why all the teams are going to this quick tap now. Instead of
to get into that.
Once you get into that 5 meter, it's so tough.
And look, I mean, Malcolm Mark's a world-class player, but I think the only thing that he probably could have done better there as well is just be in that low position. You can have a go, but be in that low position, be ready for the pick and go from the opposition, where like the performance on the day, it was just sloppy, it was a little bit lethargic. Obviously, it's far easier for you, Brunners, to get low to the ground.
Brunners is just basically, they just pick on top of him, he just keeps them up. But when you go to the ball, you put yourself in an offside position. So you had to retreat to get. Otherwise, if he completes the tackle there, then the referee might see it as cynical. You know, you're now offside, your hands on the ball.
Oh no, I got you. So you needed to get behind the last.
And that just puts you in a no position to stop the pick and go.
Now we've. Oh, sorry. This is the second.
This is.
I'm actually just going to take it a little back.
Brothers, I think this is where you come in, but there's a lot of guys who pride themselves in more stopping, and the Boks have got plenty of them in the current coaching setup.
We see already that's about 15 meters made by Italy. That is a sight that the coaching staff, the Boks, do not enjoy, and certainly that the forwards won't enjoy either.
I think we'll be on repeat a bit this morning in the session. Yeah, it's something as a forward back in any side. Don't want a 20-meter maul try against you. I think it.
And like the bit where the clip picks it up is almost where everyone's trying to recover and get it behind the ball. It was a front ball or just off the 5 meter, and we lost 4 or 5 players around the front. So our setup and our task wasn't correct from the start. Whether you isolate the front or split the jumper in the rear, what's your targets? You know, does the front guy keep it square and the rest comes in on an angle? So we lost the front of the maul. Then you're in trouble. And as soon as it starts moving now, if you any of these players trying to collapse it or come in from the side, it's yellow card, penalty try pretty much. And you're trying to fight and keep it up, but like you're fighting a lost cause. So very seldomly do you actually get away with anything once they're in behind you. But this started on the 22, and I think it's Tuesday morning splits. I think it's going to be quite a spicy session this week.
Because you talk about the the start of the line-out, and then the colours probably would have been the other way around, where Italy had the ability to where the Bok players kind of shred off of that maul, where now the exact same thing happened, but now they're just going into the front. All the Bok players on that side, Italy players on that side with nothing in front of them from a Bok point of view. And once you have that momentum, can't really stop that, right?
And for Italy, you're sitting there. This is on the highlight reels, guys. I mean, that's you do it against the Bok pack. It's something special.
Yeah, I think like Schalk said, I think it's the setup. Like, so as soon as you lose that head and they're in front to track back and trying to find another hole to put your head in, it's difficult.
Breakdown. Messy breakdown. Once again, getting the turnover. And he was impressive, the captain.
He chucked himself about. He was proper, so physical. And it comes from, Bok era, but the Boks were under pressure. Like all of these origins of the tries are from within the 22 exit rucks or exit set pieces. Those carries, they're always hard to get right. Like, do you carry too far forward and run the risk of getting held up? Do you go down too early? But they've run as the cleaner there. I mean, like it's one of those. If he goes down, you almost got to, but you still got to see that. You got to see the threat. And if that threat's coming at you, you've actually got to engage. I mean, there's enough numbers behind you to put another body in, kick it off the field. But you've actually got to go, be aggressive in your clean. You can't be caught getting counter-rucked.
Yeah, but like you said earlier as well, the responsibility is on the ball carrier. To keep that ball on the ground, 2 hands, push it on 3-point contact, push it on ground. Yeah, because that's just bobble, feet's going because of the counter-ruck they're giving. You're trying to your feet and your hands not on the ball. That's where
and it's good knowledge of the laws there as well. Like back in the day, when we were playing, you could actually just kick it. It was impossible to hold it if someone counter-rucks and kicks it forward. Now you actually got to use it in a hooking motion towards your own. You can't pick it up. You've actually got to use it as a hooking motion. And that's hard to get right when you're trying to counter-ruck and create force to hook it out of. So if it's 2 hands, like brother said, you've got 3 points on the ground, they can't dislodge it. But if you've got 1 hand and you sort of try and roll it back, they can hook it out there and it becomes messy.
Italy had 3 debutants and also a new captain. So Canone as captain, first time as captain for Italy. How impressed were you both with his performance, especially, and the debutants? Good?
Yeah.
Happy?
Like we said, they're a proud nation, like the Argentinians as well. They live for it, they cry with anthems, and then they want to prove a point. Great performance by them.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. I thought he was impressive, Nicola Canone. Physical, eh?
Very, very physical. I mean, I think throughout the game.
Standout feature for me.
Needless to say that the Boks were under par, but also Italy conceded 2 yellow cards. Okay, and towards the end of the game, Alessandro Isicor in the bin, and then the Boks scored their last try through Van Staden. Very direct again. Chituka willing carry all day long.
Yeah, a great game as well.
Yeah, I like the fact, Vinci obviously nearly went into the double. He's got the scent for it. Love the one-on-one. Marco just drops his shoulder, goes direct at it. I mean, you see bits of our goal line attack where we want to have that almost like chaos rock, where it wasn't just same way, we changed it around. I think Vince Chuka, for him, the main thing will be work rate, because he's going to be measured against Peter Steph Tetoe. He's so effective in his carries. He's a big body. He's hard to put away.
He's good on the ground as well.
He's good on the ground. So I think the work on from the Springbok camp will be, listen here, this is what Peter Steph's output is. How close can you get to that, or can you match that?
And Michael van Staden as well. You know, workhorse, getting the try at the end. You don't see too much of him during the game, but it's the guy just putting in the effort, doing the dirty work.
That's exactly how they, how they train. They're going around the corner, but they always look for that reverse side coming up, because guys folding and you always have that little gap, there's a lag. So you can see the nines always looks at the reverse side. And Marco, great on him.
Nice to see Faf back. You know, he was in Siberia for a while, so nice to see him back in the Springbok setup and getting a little try assist with Marco van Staden there.
We'll get the verdict for the game after the break, but before we go to the break, our We Buy moment of the week. So which players stood out for you guys? The either moment of the week or player of the day, where you really thought that he could take that one?
I mean, I like Mornay. He played well. He was man of the match on television, Mornay van der Berg. But like I would say the most exciting moment for me was Kurtley's try.
Kurtley's try.
Great running.
And then we also got to have a mention to Damian Willemse. I think overall he was the most quality out there. But the moment for me will be Kurtley's try in the vacuum.
Kurtley's try at the moment of the game, I can definitely agree with that. It's always nice to have a set-face try.
Must be the Vanilla Corella on his first, his first try. I
and then nearly got a double.
It's a big one as well.
And I think credit has to go to Jesse as well. First captain, first Testers captain as well.
Captain.
I think a guy that really deserves it. Has been around the block. Great bloke, and happy for him. So,
do you think we should change the name to the We Buy Moments of the Week, because we can't select one?
Go for Kurtley.
We're going to go for Kurtley. Sorry, guys. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll give you our honest verdict on the game, what we score the Boks out of 10. Also, we'll have a look at all the other rugby that was played on the weekend. So not the perfect test match for the Boks. The standards that we have for our national team is so high, and this time around, probably not living up to our expectations. That's going to happen every now and then. But Deon Fourie, the name of the show is called The Verdict for a reason, because we give our honest verdict on the Bok performance. So out of 10, how would you rate that performance and why?
Yeah, let's go for, yes, I was joking nicely, I'm still playing.
This is the hard part of the show.
You want Schalk to go first, and then you can just say, yes, I agree.
They won't be happy with that performance. I think you saw after the game, JC had the guys in a circle, and you can see he was talking a bit hard. So they weren't happy about it. Let's go for 6 out of 10. Because
I think that's generous.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same number, because like you still beat Italy 42 points to 24. You know, like yes, you know, maybe the scoreboard flatters us a bit, and the work rate wasn't up to standard. The small detail that separates us from other international sides weren't up to scratch. Line-out draw, for example, you never see us flipping flopping around. You know, conceding a 22-meter maul try, but then also you still scored 42 points. So I'm going to go 6. I think general work rate was the issue for us, and with that work rate comes attitude. So we know what Rassie's mantra is around attitude and players, you know, taking more out than what they put in. So I think it's going to be an uncomfortable week this week, because you always think ahead. So Australia's coming here, not too distant future, and how do you replicate the intensity that they're going to throw at us, and then the All Blacks when we go on tour, not even mentioning Argentina. So, I think a generous 6 from Ian Branas.
I think it is a generous 6, and I think we give them 6 because the respect we have for the team, because they, they've done so well, and we just love the Boks and the guys there. I think if we put ourselves in their shoes, if we were the guys playing on the day, I think we'd be far harsher on ourselves. You know, if we were part of that team, it's never nice criticizing a team, and this is certainly not criticizing a team. I think it's the high regard that we have for the Boks that we maybe might say, okay, 6 out of 10. So that's why I want to go lower. Yeah, well, yes.
No, you go lower.
Yeah.
I want to hear your verdict first. You go.
I think I'd give them a 5, because if we say Lineout didn't function, breakdown was poor,
More.
work rate was poor, more intensity poor,
Yeah.
maul was poor. Then that's not the standard that they are used to. And also, I want them to come back this weekend in PE and put up a decent performance. So I think that would be the talk that they'd have there as well. So I'm going to throw it out there and give them a 5.
I don't mind a 5. I'll give 6 still because of Italy's intensity.
Yes, that is, yes. And you have to take into account the opposition.
You got to
Yes.
go and take account how competitive they were. They didn't roll over. If they rolled over in any one facet, whether that was the line-out or the maul or the scrum or the kicking game, the scoreboard looks completely different.
I'm looking forward to this weekend's game, the second test between these two teams. I hope that Italy can bring the same physicality, the same level of competitiveness, and I hope that South Africa turns it on and kind of minimise those mistakes that they had on the weekend.
What do you think the team's going to look like, John?
Are you asking me to try to figure out what's in Rassie's head?
I think there's wholesale changes coming this week. I mean, I think plenty of.
Yeah, I mean, the talk after the game was that they had a plan and that might change now because of that performance. In terms of selection. So who knows? I think it'll be exciting nonetheless.
Yep. Yeah.
Another thing that has been exciting was our under-20s on the weekend. I don't know if you guys watched that game.
Yeah.
Against England. I think they're the current champions, England, right?
Yeah.
At under-21 level. I think we were
9.
down,
down 14.
22-19 at halftime.
Wasn't it 14-0 at the stage, like 12-0 or something?
I didn't actually watch the start of the game.
I just read. I think we were down and then came back and then
22-19 halftime, winning the game 32 points to 22.
Have you seen the English skipper's interview?
He wasn't happy.
No, he was not happy.
Yeah.
He was not happy. I mean, like obviously for us South Africans, we don't mind seeing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like on a 20s, big turnaround from what we saw out of them in the Tri-Nations or the Four Nations.
Yeah. You know when you're getting old, Brunners, and you'll get there one.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Well, your team has to. But when we were watching the game, and Riley Norton, the captain for the S&20s, great. I think he seems like a great leader, whatever. And they show the stand, and there's his parents. And his dad actually played with us.
Played with us, yeah.
So proud parents. Great guy. Loves a tour as well.
Yeah, good in the pub.
Fantastic performance by the under-20s. The Lions played the Waratahs on the weekend. Far tougher game. 21 points to 8. No, sorry.
21-10 was it?
21-10. 21-10.
Waratahs was really good. Yeah, like I think they put themselves about. But there's like in all these games, that first half, Lions are made to work hard. John, we saw, I think, your pick for centres playing together.
Nice.
Tupilota, Hugh Jones scoring a double. I think that combo works.
It works nicely. They just know each other. The simple lines and simple moves, drills that you the timing. They just get the timing right on those. Someone who would not be full of confidence. So I think would take confidence from the fact that the Waratahs did so well against the Lions, but not a lot of confidence going into next week's game would be Joe Schmidt. 21-18 win for Australia against Fiji.
Just at the end.
Not convincing at all.
I didn't see that when I read the result. That was awfully close, wasn't it?
But I mean, Deon, like the Lions series is a big thing. Okay, once every 12 years to get the opportunity to play against them for Australia, New Zealand, or South Africans. Going into that first test match now this weekend, after a performance like that, how do you get the guys motivated and up for it?
Sometimes you need results like that just to get you firing, wake you up. So probably it's not a bad thing. But sometimes that wakes up, and they'll probably get them up. I think they can also take the confidence, like we said, how the force and what it was that first 20-30 minutes put the Lions somewhat under pressure. Just through physicality, the way they just almost physically bullied them. I think they can take confidence out of that and probably build on that, and then look at themselves after the Fiji game. But also those Fiji Oaks are not the easiest, not the easiest side to play.
And I think
play
the fact,
against,
the fact that they play in Super Rugby, you know, now certainly helps them. They play together more, more access to their players, so you can see it in the performance. And then you get the Joseph Tuisova. Yeah. But guys like that back again, you know, world-class players.
It's just body types. They're hard to break down when they look like that. You know, they're built like this television next to us, and he's playing number 12 or 13, and he's got a repeated effort, and he's fast. You don't know where to stop them. You know, like it's like the Lions Test match has got massive intensity. So, like the challenge for Australia will be, can they manage to live up to that intensity and produce quality over 80 minutes? Because that's what it's going to take to break down the Lions side, which is quality is everywhere in that side.
I suppose selection for the Lions also, you know, it's getting a team that can go out there and perform. You know, you haven't played together yet. Now have to go and play as a team. So great individuals, but playing as a team is what is needed, and that is certainly what France showed us on the weekend against the All Blacks. We predicted that the under-strength French team would not be good enough, but they were close.
So
against
close.
The ABs?
No, they played beautifully. You know, they went up 10-0, like the All Blacks had an early disallowed try. Cam Roygaard snap.
He's looking good.
Yeah, I like him as a player. And then it's, you know, how good they are when they get 22 entries. I mean, they're unbelievable. You get this feeling with the current crop of French players. I mean, they're good enough to turn any side over. Yeah. When they lose a couple of big names, certain young players play up. That's part of their development program because of their schedule with the top 40. Not all of them can go on the June tour, but still, their performance was amazing. How competitive they were, and the All Blacks were made to work hard. It was a proper battle.
And it's also kind of that combination. I mean, you played in France for a long time. It's also that combination between, you know, the senior guys and then the youngsters coming through. A Fico being there, Tafa Fanua being there, Gabin Villiers, you know, playing really well.
I think
Lagarec playing for them.
I think the French are reaping the rewards from the systems that they put in place. I remember when I was in my first year, the GIF system. They were only allowed like there must be 10 GIF French academy players have to be in that match 23. And when I left after 7 years, that number went up to 17, 18, depends on the club. So I think the structure that they put in there, they're reaping the rewards from that now. So a lot more French players coming through. They get opportunities and they're playing well. So now easy for them to pick a and a B side, and both are good.
Also, it's a success of their clubs. You know, they're dominating Europe at the moment. Like, and that happens. You know, the Challenge Cup final was 2 French sides. You know, the final was dominated by Bordeaux. You know, like those things normally spur on the whole player group to become better. You know, they're chasing each other, they're pushing each other in their local comp, and therefore, you know, the international side has got lots of great players to pick from. So I'm looking forward to the second test now. Like sometimes with the franchises, you think, you know, maybe you get one shot. They've run their race, and the second week might be a bit long. So
I think so as well.
That's the feeling I've got.
How cool is it watching, you know, the lead up to the Springbok game, watching all these other test matches, and you see Piers Skuman running around, and you see Jacobus van Tonder running around for the French. I didn't even know of him and making his debut for the Frenchies, which is fantastic.
No, it's like watching South Africans play from early in the morning till late afternoon. Japan also. Guys, we've got to touch that.
Well, that is the next one up. Wales versus Japan. We thought Wales would take it.
Yeah, we went for the sympathy vote in Japan. You know, they
18 straight losses.
Yeah, but Japan was down. I think I watched the game 14-3 at some stage. And then they just fought their way back in. First try was off the back of the ball lineout. Victor Matfield's doing some hard work with the lineouts. You know, a little set play lined up with the back ball doesn't reek of Victor at all. And then they scored with a maul try in like the 70th minute, and then held on for dear life in the end. So yes, congrats to Japan and Eddie. But Wales, I mean, they're just looking for any type of victory. You know, like last victory was in the World Cup.
I see Josh Adams making a statement, was it last week or the week before, or in an interview saying, you know, it breaks his heart that he's playing with some players and they come to him and says they've never won a game playing for Wales.
Yeah.
They've never won.
And they've been there for a couple of years now, a couple of seasons. That's brutal. It reminds me of Heinrich Brosseau at the Cheetahs. He came to the Boks and said he's just won his first game as a pro rugby player.
That is tough. Argentina versus England. Argentina better than the British and Irish Lions, but they couldn't get one over the line against England. George Ford in his 100th cap game, guiding England to a dominant 35-12 victory.
Yeah,
Big performance from England.
I thought that would go other way around.
Yeah, me too.
So did we.
Like so dominant by England. They were incredible, and they were playing in Buenos Aires, I think. We've all played at that stadium. Great venue for a rugby game, but like England was playing exceptional rugby, and they were in control. You know, when you play there and you lose control of the game, the crowd gets involved. The referee feels pressure. But when you're dominant like that, the crowd's taken out the equation completely. So
they're still parting from that Lions victory.
Yeah, I know.
Probably.
Guys, sadly, we've run out of time. Branas, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks,
Great
Eddie.
to have you. Hoping for a speedy recovery. We'll get you back in at some stage as well.
Yep.
But it's not a good omen, you know, because the only guys that join us when you're injured. Okay, so we're hoping we don't see you soon again.
The only good thing from coming on the show is we get you back in the Boks side. You know, like Lut was here the entire last year, and he's back. Yeah, so you'll be back next year.
Skala lekker. Good luck with your golf tour on the
golf
weekend.
tour coming up on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Hush, hush. My wife doesn't quite know about it.
Tough luck.
I'll be there. Luckily, she doesn't watch the show, I don't think.
Cool, guys. Let's hope for a better performance this coming weekend. The second test match, South Africa versus the Azuri. A lot to work on for the Boks, but we will be back next week for another episode of The Verdict on Tuesday. Before that, on Thursday, we will be shooting Boks Unpack. That will air on Friday. And I've got two very special guests joining me. Schalk won't be here. Shimmy's still on holiday. But I will be joined by recently voted best loose set to play for South Africa since 1995. Osnirand will join me. And he will be joined by someone that is going to be very close to probably being the best tight head that we've seen since 1995, Frans Malherbe. So we will be talking scrums. I'll probably just sit back, have a beer and enjoy myself, but see you on Friday for Boks Unpacked. Cheers.